Look Around the Confederation, where we don't know if I'll ever be able to fix that song or not. Before we begin, please remember our disclaimer. The views and opinions expressed on this broadcast are not necessarily the views and opinions of the SCV, its GEC, nor any divisions, brigade, camps, or any other subsidiaries. How's everybody doing this evening in the land of the South? And a couple of our Yankee brethren. So we got a bit of news. Again, I posted on the page a while back that with my absence, I'm in charge of the news, and it hasn't been able to be covered. But luckily today we have a good bit of tasty news for y'all, and we'll be getting right dab into things shortly. Let's see here. Casey Weber. Glad to see you, Casey, because I got some of your news in. Bless y'all's heart. I think you sent it in April 20th. But it will be covered tonight. And let's see if I can find that little. All right. Before we get started, I don't know why that turned into scrolling. We're going to change that. Someone changed that on me. All right. Before we begin, please remember that our SCV chat giveaway is still going on, where you can win this beautiful copy of Dixie Risings, Rules for Rebels. It is a playbook on how we're going to reclaim the narrative in today's climate and how we're going to fight for our culture. Great book. 100%, I'll be promoting it either way after the giveaway because I think everybody definitely needs to read this. You can enter this said giveaway by emailing us at scvyouthoutreach@gmail.com, and please put in the subject box scvchat_giveaway, or I might miss it. So please do that, and in order to win the giveaway, you must share every promotion and actual episode of SCV Chat, Look Around the Confederation, and just interact with all our posts because we do post a good number of crazy things. Let's see here. Hey, Moose, Mr. Ricky, glad that you're in the chat. I got some news from you. David Pope, good to see you in the chat. Adam, good to see you, man. Thank you for the pictures. I'm about to post the second group of pictures you sent on my personal SCV page after the show, actually. Carl Jones, the legendary Carl Jones, is in the chat. You can always count on Carl Jones coming on and be withering me with knowledge and spam. Lots of spam. Let's see here. Jack's in the chat. Good to see you, Jack. Great to see you at Beauvoir. I know you did a great job, and we'll actually have a couple of pictures of you coming up shortly. But without further ado, I think, let's see here, any of my other SCV chat duties I need to talk about. Oh, yeah, real quick. Remember to share and that we are on YouTube now to the people who are not watching on YouTube. And we have a TikTok. And I just posted a random video of Connor that he's just going to love that I posted on TikTok. So go see that. Support us. It's just SCV chat. We lost the access to the account that had SCV_chat, but we're back up and running on TikTok, so please go support us on there. Oh, Jack, you're too hard on yourself. You did a great job. The legend, Paul Gramlich in the chat, past Commander-in-Chief. Thank you for helping out with my page, Moose. It's no problem, Jesse. We're all in this together, and the quicker that we all realize we're on the same team, we need to help each other, the better off we all will be. Real quick, we will be talking about the red carpet ceremony coming up in the next weekend, actually. I'm pumped up. I got my James Bond suit ready. I'm pumped about that. I've been wanting to do that since prom, but, I'm pretty sure I'd make my prom date pretty mad both times. But now I finally have the ability to wear the James Bond suit. Link for Eventbrite to register for your tickets is in the chat now and shall be pinned in the chat in a second. But this is a must-attend event, folks. It's going to be awesome. I can't wait for it. We'll be showing the trailer for it at the very end of tonight's episode. And, of course, SCB chat crew will be there live covering and interviewing all you great people that are attending. And we'll be enjoying those hors d'oeuvres and all of the great thing that's going to go along with the red carpet. And we are severely pumped. We got our new equipment in. And real quick, we want to thank everybody who donated to us via stars. We were able to use that money to get a lot better equipment for next weekend. I have it at home now sitting on my couch. How about that? My Wi-Fi went out. That's a new one. But if there's any technical difficulties that will go wrong on this show, it will happen at Look Around. But yeah, I was left speechless by Commander Paul's um, comment. But before I continue, please remember we only have 31 tickets left to this event. So you need to get your tickets now. And we need to sell this thing out, folks. And of course, you get a free copy of the documentary of the reburial of Nathan Bedford Forrest. Most mooses are supposed to be adapted to the cold. I don't like the cold. That's the only moose quality I actually don't have. Everything else I actually feel in pretty well. David, we're about to get into that. But without further ado, now that my Wi-Fi is nicely settled, we will be getting into the news. So, all right, first bit of news comes from the legendary Mr. Ricky. Always good to see him giving us news. Always does a great job giving us news. On April 16th, Mr. Ricky was in Stewart, Virginia, placing his camp wreath at the Wharton Stewart SCV Cemetery and escorting the lovely UCD ladies placing their wreaths as well. Glad to see that, Mr. Ricky. Always happy when you send stuff in. Yeah, you don't like the cold either. But yeah, no, always good, Mr. Ricky. Thank you. And of course, I'll bring this up again at the end of the show. But you did send in some more news, and we'll be covering that again next week. We have a lot of news to go back over and make sure we get everybody. So I just wanted to let you know that we will be covering more of your news again shortly. But good job, Mr. Ricky. Going on to Mr. Casey Weber. Casey Weber found some Confederate soldiers in a cemetery at the bottom of a truck stop in Virginia. He had two small flags with him, so he made sure that they had some nice battle flags with them. Thank you, Mr. Ricky. Always good to see us, finding these cemeteries. A lot of times they're in areas where it's hard to get to, and our guest tonight will probably talk about some of his lovely adventures that he has had with me and without me going and finding these places just in Mississippi. So I'm glad we're able to find them, give them some flags, and help them out. Next, Mr. Sean is asking for help, I believe, identifying this flag. Let me pull up his exact question. He said, I recently dug into some of my ancestors on Find a Grave, and this was attached to one of my ancestors' memorials. He wanted me to show this on the show and ask for more information. And if you can, please DM him on Facebook, or you can reach out to us and we will send the message to him. So let me remove the thing and you can get a better look at the flag. And of course, if anybody has any details on this flag, please contact Mr. Sean. Mr. Sean is probably in the chat. He usually always is. He's a great supporter and one of the first people to enter the giveaway, Mr. Sean. So thank you for that. So yeah, if you know any information about this flag, please reach out to us or Mr. Sean, and we will be happy to pass on that information to him. Next, now I have been waiting for this one. We talked about this. Victor Smith brought this to our attention, his camp event in April, and we are happy to get some great news from it. So I'll put the picture up now, and we'll go into it. A fantastic program with about 30 people in attendance, 2 UDC chapters, 4 different SCV camps, and I had to take a bit off. He said at least 2 different SCV divisions were represented. And on top of all that, Mrs. Simpson was, let's see here, was given a certificate of appreciation from the UDC chapter and the officers of the private William Riley camp. Let's see here, seems to have been cut off, but I believe y'all made her a camp ambassador. Let me pull that up real quick and make sure, because for some reason, sometimes it cuts off these lovely things that I need to read. Let's see here. All right, yeah, ambassador. All right, so glad to see that event went off great. Happy to always see these good events, and I was definitely happy to see that event go off because I was very interested in it. Glad that everybody had a good time, it looks like, and y'all were heavily attended, and that's always good to see. love to see an SCV event packed out. Next, we have a reenactment of Fort Gaines. This was submitted by Mr. Don Green. I believe that is my reenacting group, the 3rd Mississippi Infantry. And here's, of course, them during the battle. It looks like you guys had a great time. Love seeing people send the reenactments in and promotions for reenactments. And that's something me and Matt discussed out Candyman. Was giving y'all a little bit more light and a little bit more promotion. So happy to always get those. All right, on our next bit of news, let's see here what y'all are saying. All right, Cousin Vinny's in the chat now. Now it's a party, boys. All right, let's see here. All right, pulling everything up now. All right, on Saturday, April 23rd, 2022, keynote speaker Susan Lee spoke at a memorial event in Georgetown, Delaware, as we unveiled newly researched name inscribed on our monument. I believe I actually have that. Yes, you guys put Major William Casson of the 2nd and 8th South Carolina Infantry, and regards to Jeff Plummer, commander of the Delaware Grays Camp 2068. So happy to see a monument as always. I think everybody on this show knows how crazy I am about monuments. So I love to see it. Love to see it. Cousin Vinny said that since GCB is here, can I mention veganism? Vinny, I hate to break it to you, buddy, but that is a official SCV chat rule now, and cannot be broken on any of our platforms and other shows. Let's see here. Getting into the next bit of news. Nope, that ain't it. We'll get there eventually. The Captain Thomas H. Hobbs Camp 768 of Alabama held their Confederate Memorial Day service Sunday, April 24th at Confederate Circle in Athens City Cemetery. Well-attended event. Love the monument. Love the little wreath that y'all have down there, the First National. That is beautiful. And I'm glad that y'all are able to get together and go out there and just remember our ancestors for a day and all who served. So that's beautiful to see. Let's see here. It's always tricky to change screenings. All right. So there's a Confederate Memorial Day celebration in Oakwood Cemetery. Confederates rest in Tusk. That's a good one. In Alabama. This was hosted by multiple camps and UDC chapters and Order of Confederate Roses. So look how well flagged that looks, people. Let me take this off so you can see. Beautiful cemetery. Just beautiful. Love to see the battle flag out. All these nice new flags. It's probably one of my favorite in April is when you drive through these cemeteries. You can see all these beautiful new flags at our heroes' tombstones and their final resting places. So I'm happy to see that. So now we're getting into our last bit of news. And, well, no, we got 2 more things left. But first, I'm going to talk about an event coming up. So while this does conflict with the, of course, the pilgrimage, that happens. And we've talked about that on the show a lot, how these things happen. So if you can support either one of these events, please support one of them because they're both great events. So join us May 7th, 2022 for SCV Camp 87's Introductory into CERT Training Day. And it says that the event will last from 9:30 in the morning to about noonish at Greenwood Baptist Church in Knoxville, Tennessee. Of course, I will be posting the flyer of said event on our Facebook page if you cannot read it, and of course for you to get all the information. And of course, I believe, so I'll post that on there afterwards. Now, I think that's all the news, but the spectacular video I've made for y'all afterwards. Let's see here. Anything else I missed, chat? All right, without further ado, it is time for our guest to come on. It is time for us to watch said video of the Confederate Memorial Day service at Beauvoir held April 24th this year, 2022. I made a lovely video for y'all. It's about 2 minutes. It will serve as our commercial break, and we'll bring our guest on this evening, the voice of the Confederation, the James Earl Jones, if walls could talk, 5th Brigade Councilman, and Monument Chairman, my father, Forrest S. Daws. And we will get into our commercial break now as we speak, and we will see you guys back after the break. Welcome back. Real quick, I'm going to put David's comment up. This is going back to the CERT training news we just covered. But Billy Walker is their brigade commander. You can hit him up if you have any questions about the CERT training. But thank you, Cousin Vinny. It's very uncopyrighted music. But now it is my joy to introduce the two Dawses of this episode, my father and his lovely talk he's got planned for us this
evening. Well, good evening. Thanks for the opportunity to be here and speak with everyone. It's been a good April, good Confederate History and Heritage Month, and I hope everyone else throughout the Confederation has had a good one as well. I feel good about the one we've had here in Mississippi, trying to finish on a strong note. Last weekend was great at Beauvoir. And got a few more things going on as we prepare to close out, but happy to be here and talk with everyone this evening.
Well, good. We're definitely happy to have you on and round out our big amount of episodes we had planned for SCV Chat in April. And we're happy to hear about your topic. Could you explain a bit more about your topic before you go diving into everything?
Yes. For those of you that don't know, I'm the Monuments Chairman for the Mississippi Division. And when I was first asked to do that, I honestly didn't know what it entailed. And upon agreeing to accept that position, I decided that the first thing I wanted to do was to try to visit all the monuments in the state. And our previous monument chairman, Bill Henson, had compiled a book, and a really wonderful book. If you haven't, I think you sold out, but if you haven't, if you didn't get a copy, try to find one to borrow. It's just really worth reading. Very well put together and well researched book. And he traveled all over the state, not only documenting the monuments, but pulling the history of, when several of them were dedicated and so forth and so on. And so I got a copy of that as kind of my guide, and started traveling throughout the state. And we have 82 counties in Mississippi, and traveling through those 82 counties, there have been some new monuments added in recent years, which we're very proud of. But right now, unless I have missed something, there's about 108 monuments throughout the state of Mississippi, not including the ones in the National Park Service. Vicksburg alone has about that many. Vicksburg National Military Park has untold amounts of monuments, from individual generals and leaders to groups, and I'm kind of keeping that separate. And then also there are three other monuments in our state that fall under the National Park Service, and one of those is Bryce's Crossroad, and there are two more for the Battle of Harrisburg, Tupelo. And so I have those on a separate list since they fall on a different set of laws and a different organization. But that was the first thing I wanted to do, is I wanted to go through and organize and try to document all of our monuments. So I visited the counties. Some of our counties don't have a monument, some have multiple monuments, and put all that down and put it into a database. And while I was doing all of this, the spring of 2020 rolled around. And as everyone knows, things that at least I never thought I would see happen begin to happen. We started to see not only talk of monuments being moved and taken down, but vandalized, cemeteries being vandalized, just absolutely horrific things that I honestly never thought the day would come when I would see some of the travesties that we've seen. And so I got with division leadership. I got with Commander Bond. I talked with some other brigade officers and camp officers, and we thought, okay, what can we do? Things are getting bad. We need a plan. And so, what I'm going to speak with you tonight is what the Mississippi Division adopted and decided to do as part of our overall plan and strategy when it comes to our Confederate monuments. I will say, for those of you that didn't watch the episode last week, Past Commander in Chief Paul Grambling made a comment that really stuck with me. And I've been blessed to hear Commander Grambling speak several times. And I'd never, I'm sure he said this before, but I'd never heard it before. And it just really stuck with me. And he was talking about some of these municipalities that are tearing down monuments, moving monuments, wanting them relocated. And he said, they don't deserve to have those monuments. He said, I'm kind of to the point now to where I don't know. And Commander, feel free to jump in and correct me if I'm misquoting you, but to ad lib a little bit, it was something along the lines of, I'm not sure that I even want them to have those anymore if they're not going to treat them with respect. It goes back to, for those of you that have seen the snippet for the upcoming Forrest reinterment video that's coming out and going to be debuted at the pilgrimage. There's a scene on there where Commander Paul says, even if we would have put the statue back up, it wouldn't have lasted a week in Memphis because of the climate, because of the way things were. And that's something I think we probably need to start considering and thinking about. I don't ever like to see a monument moved. I don't like to see them taken down, but at the same time, if it protects the monument, and if the monument goes to a place where it's going to be appreciated and revered and honored the way it was meant to be, then, that's something that we probably need to consider. But getting back to the plan of Mississippi as it stands right now, I'm asked, so what's the plan in Mississippi? What are our goals? How are we going to achieve them? Well, here's the plan. There are 4 basic steps. Number 1, we work to protect and preserve the original existing monuments we have. Number 2, if a current monument is taken down, we work to ensure that it's re-erected in an appropriate place and as quickly as possible. 3, we're trying to work with our state legislators to strengthen our existing laws to protect all monuments, not just Confederate monuments, all monuments. And then 4, we want to commission new monuments and raise them on private property where we can control them. I'll begin with numbers 1 and 2. We work to protect and preserve the original existing monuments. And if a monument's taken down, we work to ensure that it's put back up in an appropriate place and in a timely manner. This is where my Monument Guardian program comes into effect. Basically, the way I explain this to people is the Monument Guardian program is like a neighborhood watch. Basically, what we're asking is for camps to sponsor, if you will, a monument. Any camp agreeing to sponsor one or more monuments fills out an application. Now, the word application is a little misleading. If you're an SCV camp and you're in good standing, you're going to be approved if you want to serve as a monument guardian camp. The application is simply for record keeping, which I'll go into in a moment. But basically, a guardian camp is agreeing to 3 primary things. Number 1, to have a camp member personally check on the monument at least once a month, preferably more, but at least once a month. I took it for granted growing up. We have a monument here in Wayne County right at the courthouse, like a lot of other places. Walked by it numerous times, didn't think a whole lot about it. But as I travel throughout our state, I found that not all of our monuments are sitting right there in front of the courthouse. We have some that are in cemeteries. We have some that are at libraries. We have some that are out in the middle of nowhere. And they're not the most easily accessible at times. So if someone can keep a check on it every day, that's great. But at least once a month, send somebody in the camp by to physically lay eyes on that monument. That's the first thing. Second thing, to report any violation to the local authorities and to the monument committee immediately. Now, what do I mean when I say violation? That covers a multitude of things. If a monument has been desecrated, if a monument is vandalized, we want you to not only report that to us, but we need it reported to the authorities. Now, I've had a lot of people say, yeah, well, if you're in a liberal city or if you're in a liberal area, the police aren't going to do anything, or, the politicians are going to sweep it under the rug. That's beside the point. Do it right, follow the rules, file the police report, have that paper trail, show that we did our due diligence, file the police report like you're supposed to. And then second, we're asking that you contact us. And what that does is that gives me a heads up so I can jump on it. I live in Wayne County. For those of you that don't know, Wayne County is about 2 hours up from the Mississippi Gulf Coast. So, for example, if there is an issue in Corinth's, less than 20 miles off the Tennessee state line, it takes me a little while to get to Corinth. I can't drive up there every day and check on things up there. I need local people to keep me in the loop when something happens. So that's the idea behind it, is people on the ground and a grassroots network of people keeping eyes on their local area and then filtering that information to the people who can do something about it. And once I find out, okay, there's a violation, now I'm going to do my best to follow up with law enforcement, follow up with politicians, follow up with the people that can hopefully do something about this to see that the problem is rectified. Now, I'm talking about vandalism, but violations cover some other things as well. If the Board of Supervisors or the Board of Aldermen, whatever the municipal body in charge of that monument is if they vote to remove it or to move it or to take it down, throw it away, whatever. I need to know about that. If something's happening 10 counties over, I may not hear about it in my neck of the woods. So I need someone that's local to say, hey, look, Board of Supervisors voted 3-2 to move the monument in our county. And then at that time, I can get on the phone with the Attorney General's office. I can get on the phone with the Board of Supervisors. I can get on the phone with the appropriate parties, but I can't do anything until I know about it. So that second step is very important. Report violations to both the authorities and to the Monuments Committee. And then the third thing is to have at least one camp member trained by a certified CERT instructor for cleaning. Now, I noticed earlier on tonight's show, there was a CERT workshop that was advertised. If you have not gotten certified in the no harm method of cleaning taught by CERT, you need to do so. It's not an incredibly difficult thing to learn. And as much as teaching people what to do, we also teach people what not to do. I got into that way back. Mr. Tom, rest his soul, was on the chat. Gosh, I don't know, well over a year ago. And after I watched that episode and him talking about CERT and the no harm method of cleaning, I immediately called up Connor and I said, hey, look, I need this guy's contact info. We got to get him down to Mississippi. And sure enough, he was so nice, drove all the way down to Biloxi, all the way down to the Gulf Coast, and set up the first CERT training class. And from there, we've branched out. We've had dozens of people certified in Mississippi. We have at least one person certified, if I'm not mistaken, in each brigade in Mississippi. And most recently, Harrison and I stepped over into Louisiana and got someone certified over there to start the program in Louisiana. So it's a great program, easy to teach, easy to learn, and it teaches us how to take care of our monuments. And I asked Mr. Tom whenever he and some of his compatriots got together to start that, what brought that on, and he said, well, with all this vandalism, there were a lot of well-meaning people that were coming and wanting to help out and clean these monuments, but they were showing up with bleach and pressure washers and wire brushes and gasoline, and they were cleaning the monuments, but they were hurting the monuments. They were destroying the monuments. They just didn't know any better. And they envisioned with CERT a nationwide, a confederation-wide cleaning method that everyone could learn so that, when things like this happen, we were prepared. But not just with vandalism. The majority of monuments in Mississippi were erected in the very early 1900s. So you're talking about 100 plus years of moss and mildew and mold and biological growths that are on these stones. And, a lot of them just need a good cleaning. And we've had a lot of people step up here in Mississippi that have moved around and gone around and obtained permission and cleaned several of our monuments. And that's something we try to do right now. We have groups of people that kind of look at the worst case scenarios. The worst monuments are the ones that are in worse shape, I should say. And they travel and try to clean those. So those are the three things that we ask camp when sponsoring a monument and becoming a monument guardian to agree to. Have a camp member personally check at least once a month on the monument, reporting violations to the locals authorities and to the monument committee. And 3, to have at least one camp member certified in the CERT no harm method of cleaning. Now, in addition to these things, it's important that camps also agree to the following. First and foremost, it is imperative that anyone from the Guardian camp who is interacting with the public, media, or government officials conduct themselves by the standards expected of someone as a member of the Sons of Confederate Veterans. We're under a microscope right now. People, our enemies specifically, are waiting for us to mess up. They're waiting for us to show our rear end and do something wrong and let somebody get under our skin and say something that can't be taken back. Please be cautious when you're interacting with the public. And, it's something my father always told me. Everybody's got shortcomings, everybody's got mistakes, everyone's got things that they can't help, just part of their personality. But you need to be a man and accept the fact that, okay, this is my problem. This is my shortcoming. This is an issue that I struggle with. And for some people, that's losing that temper. Maybe people push your buttons and get under your skin, and you can't help yourself. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. You might not be the best person to interact with the public if you're that type person that can have those buttons pushed and going to lose it. Maybe you let somebody else in the camp take that responsibility and you take another. It's just very important that we always present ourselves professionally and as Southern gentlemen when we're dealing with the public, when we're dealing with government officials, when we're dealing with people that are already looking at us like we don't belong and like we don't matter. We want to rise above that. We want to set a great example for the SCV. So, if your camp decides to adopt a monument, at least here in Mississippi, that's what we're asking. Represent, be respectful. Absolutely, Casey. Represent the sons of Confederate veterans and be respectful. And the second thing we ask is that at any point in time, if a camp decides that they're not able to fulfill those three things, just let us know. There's no hard feelings. Situations change. Camps, unfortunately, sometimes shrink in number. People move off. We have members pass away. People get sick. And you may not be able to sufficiently keep eyes on that monument anymore. And that's okay. We just ask that you let us know so we can try to find someone else to pick up those duties and pick up where you left off. What we've done, see if I can hold this up here, but what I've done here in Mississippi is we've just compiled a database here. And what this says is I've got the counties listed alphabetically, and then we've got the town and location of the monuments in each of those. And then over here, we've got which guardian camps are watching which ones. And I've got to update this one. Some of these have now thankfully been spoken for. But when I say database, that's what we're talking about. So I can pull up right here and I can look and I can say, okay, Camp 255 is keeping a watch on the monument in the Shibuda Cemetery in Clark County. That's my camp. So I can look and I can know that. I can look over here and look and I can say, okay, these two camps are keeping an eye on this one. Camp 2215 is keeping an eye on the Greene County Monument in Leakesville. Camp 1748 is keeping an eye on the Loosedale Monument in George County. And I know I don't have to worry about those monuments. I know that there's a camp taking care of that, and that if something happens, they're going to notify me. Trying to get this program off the ground, trying to get all of our camps to buy into this and to adopt monuments that are in their area. And I welcome to talk to people in other divisions that may be interested in adopting this or something similar for their divisions. I think it's needed. I'm not saying that this one's perfect. Mr. Tom told me when he was going over CERT training with me, he said, this is what we're doing in Tennessee, but feel free to tweak it and make it your own, take some liberties and find what works in Mississippi. And that would be my advice. I have had some people from other divisions that have reached out to me and, hey, we would like to get something like that going in our state. And I would say, here's how I'm doing it in Mississippi. But if you see something that you can improve upon, by all means, or if you see something that would work better in your area than the way we've got it structured, absolutely do what you need to do to protect the monuments in your area, and share that information. You may have an idea that I haven't thought of, and vice versa. And when we swap information, as the saying goes, two heads are better than one. So the more people that get involved, this program can hopefully grow and morph and mature and turn into something really positive. So that kind of covers the first two steps of what we're doing. The Guardian program takes care of points 1 and 2, work to protect and preserve the original and existing monuments we have. And if a current monument is taken down, work to ensure that it's re-erected. That Guardian program, the Monument Guardian program, is going to help us do that. So that brings me to 3. Number 3 on the plan is work with state legislators to strengthen our existing laws to protect all monuments. Now, here in Mississippi, we actually do have a law that offers some protection to our monuments. However, we want it to be stronger. We really want it to be stronger, and we're trying to work with that right now. We're making some great progress. We've got some contacts and are speaking to specific legislators. I'm going to leave names out of it for the time being, but we're hoping to work and I won't say replace, but amend and add to the law that we have. But I would encourage every division to do that. Work with your um, work with your state legislators and try to see what your current law is and if there's anything you can do to improve it. You may not get anywhere, but you won't know until you try. So that's the third thing we're doing right now is we're working with our state legislators to try to strengthen our laws. Because as I said, we do have laws on the books. Unfortunately, the law's only good if it's enforced. And sometimes what you've got is municipalities that know the law, they know what the rule is, they know what the fine is for breaking the law. And we've had some that are just, you know what, we're just going to thumb our nose at it. And what we're trying to do now is to make that law stronger so that that's not an option. There's going to be consequences. In other words, we want a law with some teeth. Number 4 is commission new monuments and raise them on private property. There's been a movement in recent years to erect new Confederate monuments. And when you think about it, the vast majority of our Confederate monuments were erected in the early 1900s. Certainly here in Mississippi, I know that's the case. And there just hasn't been a lot of activity since then. But there's a movement right now. And there are groups that are starting to raise new monuments. And when they raise these new monuments, they're putting them on private property. They're removing that option for a municipality to come in and say something about it. When the UDC came through in the early 1900s and purchased and donated these monuments to counties and towns and cities throughout our state, they never dreamed that at some point in time those municipalities may want to move them. That was just not something that was even thought of. So it was kind of given with no strings attached. Well, now they're at the mercy of whatever that municipality wants to do. If they want to take it down, move it. But when you put up a monument on private property, you got a lot more control over that monument. And so we're working with several to do that now. The Calhoun Avengers Camp in Calhoun County, Mississippi, has been working hard for the last couple of years. I've been working with them. Camp Commander Terry Arthur and the men of that camp have done a great job and are coming very close to unveiling a new Confederate monument in Calhoun County. Previously, Calhoun County did not have a Confederate monument. And the men of that camp got together and said, you know what? We owe it to our ancestors. We need to have a monument here. And it's really going to be impressive. I've kept up with them as they've progressed on this project, and they've gone from just an idea to purchasing a monument, to purchasing property, to preparing that property, to erecting flagpoles, and they're getting really close to putting that monument up and having an unveiling of that. And we're really excited about that here in Mississippi. And then there's a couple of other projects that are in the works. I'm going to keep those under wraps for right now, but some exciting projects that we hope to have completed, maybe even as soon as within the next year. So that's the 4th thing is to try to commission new monuments and raise them on private property. Yes, Carl, camp brigades, divisions can work jointly to erect new monuments. Alabama and Tennessee did that at the Forrest Boyhood Home. If people have not seen that, that's a great monument. Harrison and I were blessed to go by and see that whenever we went to the Forrest reinterment. Good monument and a great example of what can happen when multiple people work together. I get that a lot. People say, oh, well, I'm in a small camp, or, we've only got 15 members. We've only got 20 members. We live in a rural area. We're a poor camp. We don't have a lot of money. pull in other camps. And as Carl's saying here, heck, pull in brigades and even divisions. One of the monuments that I'm working on now, I will let that cat out of the bag, I suppose. And we're going to reach out to some other divisions on this to see if there's any interest in helping support it. We're wanting to put up a monument to the Battle of Iuka in Iuka, Mississippi. And there were multiple states that were represented in that battle. And so we're going to reach out to those divisions and see if, possibly they're interested in helping us with that. So absolutely, camps working together, brigades working together, and even divisions working together can take a project that at one point in time maybe looked impossible and make it possible. And if you want to see the absolute best example of that, go to the SCV headquarters in Tennessee and look at the museum. The museum is an example of what happens when the entire organization pulls together and works for a common goal. I'm super excited about the museum. That's kind of getting off topic a little bit, but with that being Carl that made that comment, I've had a chance to see some of the stuff that's coming to fruition with a timeline, and guys, it's awesome. I'm super excited to get up there and see the progress that's been made since the last time I was there, and excited to watch the progress that will continue to happen after pilgrimage. So, but a great example of what can happen when people pull together and work together. We had a question here in Mississippi. There are two thorns in our side in Mississippi when it comes to monuments. One of those is in Columbus, and one of those is in Grenada. And if you live in Mississippi, if you're in the Mississippi Division, you know what I'm talking about. The monument in Grenada, what the municipality in Grenada has done is they voted to move the monument, but they don't have the money to move the monument. So they just covered the monument up. They've placed a tarp over it and strapped that tarp down around it. What they have done in Columbus, Mississippi, is they voted to relocate the monument to Friendship Cemetery, which is an acceptable place to relocate that monument. Problem is they took it down and they have not put it back up yet. Both of those are in violation of the law. This has been pointed out. I have contacted the Attorney General's office. I have reached out and contacted people within the municipalities at both of these. Now, I will say I feel like we're making some progress in Columbus. The Lowndes County Board of Supervisors has recently assured us that they are working hard to try to get that monument back up in time for the Mississippi Division reunion in June. We'll see if that happens. Hopefully so. But we have contacted them, and they've been nice, been respectful, good dialogue there with that municipality, and we look forward to having that monument back up in an appropriate location there in Friendship Cemetery. Grenada's been a little bit more difficult. The most I've been able to get out of them so far is they do have a piece of property picked out for the monument to be placed on. Right now, what we're trying to do is, put the heat on the Attorney General. The law's on the books. They're breaking the law. Nothing's being done about it. And this is something that I spoke at a camp here a while back, and they asked, well, what can we do? And I was so glad they said that, because I'm going to get on my soapbox here for a minute. And, Carl, Paul, some of the ones that are on here that have held offices much higher than mine in this organization, how many times have you been approached by people that say, well, what's National doing about it? Or what's the division doing about it? Okay, well, what are you doing about it? That's my question. Everyone wants to look at the chairman of this or the commander of that, and what are you doing about it? Well, a commander's one person, a chairman's one person. Even the general executive council or a division executive council, that's just a handful of people. In Mississippi, we have close to 2,000 members and got less than 20 that are on the division executive council. What are the other several hundred members doing in addition to what the division executive council is doing? Now, I by no means am pointing fingers or throwing stones or saying this, that, and the other, But look at it like this. If you're the Attorney General and the same guy's calling you every day, that's a nuisance. But if you're the Attorney General and 500 different people are calling you every day, now maybe this is something that's going to motivate me. And you don't identify yourself as, yes, I'm a member of the Sons of Confederate Veterans. You identify yourself as saying, I am a tax-paying voting citizen of the state of Mississippi. And I would like to know why the Mississippi law is not being enforced. Plain and simple. That's something that everybody can do to help us bring this to a head, hopefully. Goes back to what I was saying before. Be respectful. If you're one of these that are going to lose your temper and use profanity and say things that are going to cause us problems, then maybe you're not the best one to call. Now, a lot of people will go, well, it's been too long and, we deserve to be mad. You're not going to hear an argument from me on that. Yes, we do deserve to be mad. Absolutely. But is that going to work? Honestly, is that going to work? You may say yes. I personally think no. But a concerted effort of calling and being respectful. Yes, I'm a tax-paying citizen. I'm concerned that the law's not being enforced here. Why is this the case? Why are we not doing anything? What has to happen in order for this? And I'm telling you, if more than one or two people do this, if 1, 2, 3, 4, if dozens and dozens become hundreds and hundreds become thousands, there is one thing that a politician fears, and that is the voting public, because that's the only person that can unseat a politician. We the people sounds like a cheesy catch line, but it's true. We the people have the power. And a lot of people don't believe that anymore. But I promise you, we the people can get things done. Be professional, be respectful, but be adamant. And yes, I've seen a couple of comments brought up, and I agree 100%. This is something else that Commander Gramling has said in the past. We need to be as committed as our enemy. And when our enemy is calling and raising Cain about why is this monument still up, then maybe we need to be that committed and be calling every day, why has this monument not been relocated? Why is this monument being covered by a tarp? Again, I promise you, I'm calling the Attorney General's office. I'm calling the mayor and the Board of Supervisors and the Board of Aldermen. I'm sending out emails and making calls. I'm doing that, but I'm one single person. Imagine what would happen if 500 different people joined me in that. Not just once or twice, but multiple times a week. I feel like it would get results. Maybe I'm wrong, but we won't know until we try. So, yes, I'm frustrated about the situation in Grenada and in Columbus. Yes, they have a tarp over it. Yes, they have a strap around it. Yes, that is against the law. I can't go kick the door in with a machine gun. That's not going to solve anything. We need people to get motivated and get active with me. We need people to make those calls and to show that support and to demand that the law's enforced in a respectful way. That's what we need to do to make that happen. Now, I will say this, and again, I'm not, please don't misunderstand, not throwing any division under the bus, not saying anything negative about anyone. But I will say this, when you look around Mississippi and you look at some of the other states in the country, we've got a tarp over one in Grenada and we've got one in storage in Columbus. And every other monument in Mississippi is either where it originally stood or was immediately placed back up when it was taken down. How many other states in the country can say that? 2 out of 108? That's pretty good when you consider the things that have happened in this country in the last 2 years. So while I definitely share frustration in the situation in Grenada and Columbus, let's step back and put it into perspective. Mississippi's still doing a pretty darn good job on the monument front. And if everyone will get involved with everyone's help, I feel like we can continue to do well in that and hopefully exceed expectations. So, I'm looking forward to what the future holds. One thing I will say is positivity is contagious, but so is negativity. If you're going to bring up the negative stuff all the time, and if you're going to whine and complain all the time, and if you're going to say things that point fingers at other people. That's something else we used to, tell the kids in school. When you point the finger, three fingers are pointing back at you. So what are you doing? We need to all get involved. We need to all be activists. We need to all be respectful, all get on the same page, row the boat in the same direction. And the sky's the limit to the things that we can achieve. But we've got to stay positive. We've got to pull together. We've got to row the boat in the same direction. We got to have that common goal and outlook. And I honestly believe great things are on the horizon for the SCV, both in Mississippi and beyond. So I appreciate, absolutely, we must learn from each other. We must support each other, Carl, 100%. There are so many things I have learned from other camps and other brigades and other members throughout the South and beyond the South. I know we've got members all over the country, and I've been blessed to have met some of those members and learned things from them. I'll be the first to admit that for the better part of 2 decades in this organization, I kind of huddled up and stayed in my camp and did local things. And I'm not knocking that at all. I take a lot of pride in the work that we did here in our community. But since I have decided to branch out a little bit and seek higher office and try to do more in the SCV, I've really been blessed. And I've learned a lot from people that little things that I brought back to my camp and we've implemented. And so absolutely, Carl, we can learn from each other. And if we support each other and if we get behind each other, man, no telling what can be accomplished. But that's what we've got to do. We've got to pull together. We've got to support each other. I feel like this monument program is something that is needed both in Mississippi and beyond. I feel like it can be productive. Like I say, the Monument Guardian program portion of it, that's again fancy way of saying neighborhood watch. If you've got a monument close to where your camp is, hey, we would like to sponsor that monument. We would like to become the guardian of that monument. And all that means is you're going to keep an eye on that monument, keep that monument clean, and let me know if something bad happens to it. That's it. That's your responsibility. And once that happens, then we'll, enact a plan of action. I think every division could do this. I appreciate that, Commander. That's what it takes is support. And again, I would love to see this program grow not only in Mississippi, but I would love to see it spread to Alabama, Louisiana, Arkansas, Tennessee. I would love to see it just fan out and go through the Confederation. And, we've already had a lot of losses. We've had a lot of monuments be torn down, be vandalized. And, there's nothing we can do about that now. We can work to ensure that it doesn't happen again. We can work to put new monuments up. I recall Lieutenant Commander-in-Chief Rocheers made a comment. There were a lot of people that were complaining about the museum at the National Reunion. And he kind of looked around the room and said, boys, that ship has sailed. That's left the dock. The museum's built. It's here. Instead of griping and complaining about it, why don't we come together and find a way to make it successful? And he's absolutely right. Same thing, we can point and we can talk about all the negative things that have happened and what municipalities have done and what monuments have been hurt and taken down. Yeah, we can gripe and complain about that all day long, but that's not going to bring them back for the most part. What can we do from here on out? What can we do positively to move forward? Can we put a new monument up in that place? If we can't put it there, can we secure private property somewhere else and put a similar monument up? Can we work with our legislators to protect the monuments that are still in their place? Can we clean and honor the monuments? I'll be the first to tell you, I took Confederate monuments for granted, 100%. I grew up in the South. I grew up in a county that had a monument here, passed by it all the time. I appreciated it. I understood the historic significance of it and the honor of it, but I definitely took it for granted that it would always be there. And, I traveled to my family's original home place in North Carolina last summer, and that monument's been removed. That was a monument to my ancestors that is no longer there. And, that sucks. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to concentrate on the monuments to my ancestors that are still up in the places that they're up and try to save and protect those. And I'm going to work with people across this nation to erect new Confederate monuments to honor those ancestors. I refuse to let the negativity get me. I'm going to stay positive. I'm going to work hard. I'm going to ask the people around me to work hard. And I can't help but think if we do that and we pull together, we're going to be successful no matter what we do. So I've talked long enough. I appreciate the opportunity to be on here this evening. Monuments is a real passion of mine. I've told the last few camps that I presented this program to. So, I've done a lot of things for the SCV over the years, a lot of things that I'm proud of, but I can honestly say that the work I've done as monuments chair here in Mississippi has been the most fulfilling work that I've ever done for the SCV. I thoroughly enjoyed traveling the counties and seeing the different monuments and the design and the meaning. And as I further researched my own Confederate ancestry, finding uh, I had an ancestor that was born 15 miles from where my current house is now in southeast Mississippi that ended up all the way in Tippah County, which is in extreme upper Mississippi, fought there after the war, ended up and is buried in Atlanta, Louisiana. Figure that one out. So those kind of things are interesting to me. And those monuments are part of that trail and part of that history. And I love visiting these monuments, love honoring these monuments, cleaning these monuments, preserving them, and really enjoy seeing new monuments go up in areas where maybe there weren't any before, or maybe something happened that deserve recognition. So, if there's anything that I can answer, any questions, Harrison has put my email up there this evening already. Feel free to email me. Again, be happy to talk to any other divisions that are interested in adopting this program or something similar. Send you all the paperwork I have on it. And if you are in a camp in Mississippi and your camp is not already sponsoring a monument and there's one close to your camp, I would ask and encourage you to please reach out to me. I'll send you an application, walk you through the process, super easy. I'm trying to make my way to all of the camps in the division over the next year or so. Hopefully, I've already visited several, a few dozen, but got several more to go. So if I haven't been to your camp yet and you want information, reach out to me. Be happy to work with you. And again, just want to thank Harrison and everyone at Look Around the Confederation and SCV Chat for the opportunity to come on this evening and talk about something that I'm passionate about. So thank you very much.
Well, we're happy to have you on. And of course, if you want to reach my father, I have put his SCV Facebook account in the chat. It's pinned. Just type Forrest SCV and it should pop up. Of course, you can go to him there and you can get updates on all his progress and all the stuff he is doing. And of course, contact him for information. And you can also reach out to him at forestsdaws.com. Now, I have an interesting comment. So GCB sent us $200 in stars, or not $200 stars, but 200 stars. And as I said earlier in the show, we wanted to thank everybody for sending in stars because that was to give us the equipment for the red carpet ceremony. And I'll be making a post specifically thanking the people that gave out stars so we could do this. GCB asked two questions. Well, one's a statement and one question. First, he asked, did I get a haircut? No, I combed my hair. He wanted my dad to know that he is an absolute unit.
And I appreciate that, GCB. It means a lot coming from you, bud.
And that is the guy that me and him came up with this. And yeah, that's all I can say about that. Yeah. But without further ado, please remember our giveaway. You can email us at scvyouthoutreach@gmail.com and put in the subject box SCV Chat Giveaway to enter the said giveaway. And if you have pictures, short videos, or any camp projects or anything you've been involved in with the SCV or any Confederate-related thing, please email us at scvyouthoutreach@gmail.com to be featured on the upcoming episode of Look Around the Confederation. And also, if you are a camp or division that have a project that you would like to talk about live, again, email email address. Without further ado, let's test another what did you call it earlier? Big house joke. I think we're going to call it evening. GCB just says rare frop, so I guess it's time to call it. But without further ado, into us Monday. We have a historical episode for y'all ready and planned. Same Confederate channel, same Confederate time. And without further ado, I'm going to end this episode by playing the Forrest trailer for the documentary. And of course, you can hear the famous promotional video of Walls Can Talk at Elm Springs Facebook page, and of course on our many episodes of SCV Chat and Look Around the Confederation. So without further ado, folks, we want to thank you guys. Hope to see you Monday, and hope to see you at the red carpet ceremony. I am Moose. He is James Earl Jones. Stay Southern, my friends.
It started about 3 years ago. A controversy began with the political correct movement that was taking place in Memphis, and Forrest became a lightning rod.
They created a nonprofit group, a puppet organization, went in there in the middle of the night and removed the statue in violation of a number of laws.
Even if the statue got put back up, it wouldn't last a week. Why don't we move on?
There's no one alive today that could tell us where General Forrest and Mrs. Forrest were buried.
As we were digging away the dirt from in front of the statue, we discovered a flower cradle, and it said N.B. Forrest, 1877. We uncovered both the vaults, and they were side by side.
So can you raise it just a little bit more so we can get the scrap? That's good. A little bit more.
Recognizing the enormity of the history that's involved with this, I wanted to make sure that it was done right.
This is one of those things that you can't fail on. You can't just halfway do this. You have to be invested. You have to go with it with all your heart and soul.
We're here to remember a hero, not just of the South, but an American warrior.
The line is drawn now. This is not just an attack on Confederate or Southern history. It's an attack on American history.